The Random Jottings of Hinge and Bracket with Dr. Evadne Hinge and Dame Hilda Bracket. With Daphne Heard as Maud and friends and neighbours at Stockton Trestle in Putting It on the Map.
Historically speaking, Stockton Trestle has always managed to keep itself pretty much to itself. In fact, it's only ever once been mentioned in the journal of the English traveller, Jeremiah Hawkins, who visited the town in the spring of 1731. He was lost. He stayed at the Bull Inn, where he partook of what he describes as a dirty dinner. Though whether as to the state of the food or the behavior of the serving wenches, he does not make plain. After dinner, he says, "Some fountains were made to squirt a lot for me." That, of course, was 250 years ago. And ever since then, we have made efforts to improve the lot of the tourists. Our efforts began in earnest one morning last summer. It was a Wednesday. And Evadne and I were working in our music emporium. Evadne, what's in this disgusting old parcel on the top of the piano, dear?
It's music, Hilda.
Music?
I bought it while you were out.
Who from, a busker? He didn't chuck in his spoons as well, did he?
He was rather a smart young man, as a matter of fact. He's just moved into Rose Cottage, where old Mrs. Partridge lived, and he was clearing out the attic.
Oh, he might come across old Mr. Partridge.
Now, let's start that again, Hilda.
Well, no one ever discovered what became of him, did they?
Well, if it'll put your mind at rest, all that young man found in the attic was a set of sweep brushes, several copies of the Muckshifter and Public Works Gazette. And that's music.
And how much did you give him?
£2.
£2? You gave him £2 for this lot. I'd sooner have had the Muckshifter and Public Works Gazette.
Hilda, there must be 100 sheets of music here, plus the albums.
And have you looked at the title?
Well, they're not here.
Then you should. It's hardly our sort of thing now. She'd never had her ticket punched before. And what about this? I kissed her in German, I loved her in Dutch. We courted in various ways. For foreigners tickled her fancy so much, 'twas everything à la Française. I never realized old Mrs. Partridge was that way inclined. She always seemed so sanctimonious, and her with a gummy leg as well.
No, she used to put that on.
Nonsense, it was gummy, it wasn't wooden. And just look at this one. If you've never been the lover of the landlady's daughter, then you cannot have a second piece of pie.
It was a job lot, Hilda. I bought it for the 3 albums underneath. They'll sell for at least £2.50 each. By the way, Hilda, there are a couple of songs I think we should copy out.
Which songs are there?
Well, this one for a start. Yes, here. In Your Pretty French Petticoat. Why don't you try it out?
Yes, but I'll keep my dress on if you don't mind. Near the carnivaled Bordeaux, close beside the old chateau, girls in quaint sabots and petticoats through the vineyards come and go. One day came a gallant British poor, and deep in love he fell with one of those charming vineyard maids, to whom he softly said, "Mademoiselle, in your pretty French petticoat of red, white, and blue, in your pretty French petticoat, I do like you. I've seen some pretty girls, but one thing I know, you're the nicest little thing in petticoats in old Bordeaux. In your pretty French petticoat of red, white, and blue, in your pretty French petticoat, I do like you. I say this little thing in a petticoat. In old Portland. Oh, it's very nice.
Well, you know, that really is a lovely little song, Evadne. We must have that one.
That album is full of absolute beauties.
Then I shall buy it for you.
For £2.50.
Oh, of course not, dear. At trade.
Oh, all right. Say 33 1/3% discount. Let's call it £1.50.
And the usual 10%.
What usual 10%?
Well, Evadne, if I get 10% discount at the grocer's, I should surely be allowed it here.
Oh, all right. Say £1.35.
Don't I get anything off for cash?
Oh, don't be utterly ridiculous.
But you only gave £2 for the whole lot. Now, you surely don't expect me to pay £1.35 for one album.
Very well. Another 10% for cash. £1.21.
Well, I don't really see why I should pay all of it. I mean, it's just for both of us.
All right, let's say £1. And here's my half, 50p.
Done.
And now what are you doing?
I'm putting an IOU in the till for 50p. And here you are, Evadne. One song album with my love. Would you like me to sign it for you?
I prefer you to sign the IOU, if you don't mind.
Really, you can be so ungracious. Ah, Major Durrenthorpe.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Major.
Hello, Major. Out for a stroll?
No. As a matter of fact, Lorna's got me running about looking for a wardrobe.
Why, has one got away?
And you know, Hilda, she opened hers this morning and found it full of woodworms.
Really? Well, I opened mine and I found it full of frogs. That's unfair.
I should warn you, Major, Hilda is in a funny mood this morning. Or more accurately, an unfunny mood.
Anyway, it's not the wardrobe that brought me here.
You came on the bus, did you?
You see what I mean?
I can't see if either of you dear ladies has ever had any thoughts about attracting tourists.
Well, not very serious ones, I'm afraid, Major. Hilda usually settles for fluttering her eyelashes at them and cooing bonjour, whatever their nationality.
Most of them know perfectly well what I mean now.
Most of them would know perfectly well what you mean if you merely said good morning.
No. You see, the Chamber of Trade is keen to get Stratton on the tourist map. But when you come to look around, we don't really have very much to offer, do we? After all, the castle was blown up, the priory was blown down, and the Saxon barrow was levelled for curly kale in 1944.
Oh, well, absolutely nothing was sacred to the land girls, Major. I should know. I was one. Our motto was simply backs to the land. And there were a few who took that quite literally. It's probably how your barrow got levelled.
Precisely my point, Hilda. No, I think we should attempt to find some local custom or ancient ceremony that would bear revival.
I know what you mean, Major. I happened to be in Air St. Lawrence one April when they were blessing the silkworms.
Well, there's a conversation stopper.
Do they do that in Ayot?
Oh, yes. Silk is still important to them. They pray for disease-free cocoons.
That sounds fun.
Dr. Hinge is right, Hilda. We need something indigenous to Stratton, an event in which the whole town can join, something they did in the old days. We must all put our heads together.
Oh, well, now that would certainly be different.
Good heavens, is that the time? I must be running. That wardrobe won't wait.
No, they're very impatient things, aren't they?
Thinking caps on, eh? Jolly good. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, Major.
Bye-bye.
I say, Evadne, isn't it lovely to think of Lorna Durrenthorpe all alone in that big house, surrounded by voracious woodworms?
You really are in a very strange mood today, Hilda. I do hope you're going to be a little more amenable when the tourists come.
Oh, I know how to handle tourists, dear. I shall be my usual charming self.
Ah, sounds like a customer.
Bonjour.
It's only me, Hilda. Doctor. Hello, Maud.
And what brings you here, Maud, dear?
I thought you might be getting a bit peckish, so I've done you a bit of dinner.
Oh, how kind, Maud. What is it, dear?
It's a hot pot, only it's cold.
Well, it's the thought that counts, Maud. We can always reheat it on the ring at the back, can't we, Evadne?
What makes you think that would help?
Now, Maud, dear, I'm glad you've dropped in. You may be able to help us, actually, because you've lived here all your life, haven't you? Well, you must remember some of the things that people got up to in the old days.
Oh, I should say. Now, Maud, just think. Apart from hanky-panky and presumably cricket, was there anything else they used to do on the village green in the old days?
Well, they used to chuck people in the pond.
Really? And what day did they do that on, dear?
Oh, they did it on most days, Dame Hilda, when the pub chucked out.
We were really thinking of something more celebratory, Maud.
I suppose you mean like May Day, Doctor.
Oh, did you celebrate May Day now?
Oh, we did when I was a girl, Dame Hilda. Oh, it were always a lovely day. I'll never forget the first May Day as I were allowed to dance round the maypole. All us little girls got up early and dressed in our prettiest frocks and flowers in our hair and gumboots.
Gumboots, dear.
On account of the cows.
Yes, I see.
And on the green were a great maypole, ever so tall it were, painted pretty, and long, long ribbons streaming up it, and garlands everywhere. And all the little girls made a circle on the inside, and all the little boys made a circle on the outside. And we all took hold of our ribbons. And the fiddlers struck up, and off we all went tripping round.
What a very pretty picture.
Quite the light, fantastic.
And all us little girls was going one way, and all them little boys was going t'other. And when somebody shouted, "Turn," we all turned. Well, it all went very well for a while, and the dance were getting faster and faster, and the fiddlers louder and louder. And I swear I heard somebody shout, so I turned. Do you know I was the only one as did?
I don't believe it, Maud.
I do.
Down they went like ninepins. The little girls, I mean.
Oh, the little boys were all right, were they?
Well, they would have been, Dame Hilda. But weaving in and out to avoid the little girls as were still standing, I wove in and out of the little boys.
Massacre of the innocents.
I've never seen such an heap of humanity. Yet, do you know, in all that, we never let go of our ribbons. Well, except for the little girl as was tied to the pole.
Tied to it, Maud.
We never knowed how she'd come to be tied. I think she must have been stood still while we was all going round. It was her mother as hit me.
Picture now.
Right round the ear hole with her garland. Grabbed me arm, she did, and tried to pull me out, but I weren't going. It were May Day. So I hangs on to me ribbon for grim death. I think she'd have pulled me arm out of joint if me ma hadn't kicked her shin.
Oh, the simple old-fashioned rustic pleasures.
Oh, that were a lovely day. But they never did it again.
I wonder why.
I suppose we can always revive the May Day celebration, Evadne.
Hilda, if you are seriously considering adopting a suggestion of Maud's, I think I'd prefer chucking people in the pond. No names, no pact drill, dear, but I could even suggest someone we might start with.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone I know? Well, unfortunately, Maud simply wouldn't agree to being chucked in the pond. I don't know why. Anyway, Evadne spent several days digging about for ideas in the local history department of the reference library. And finally, she came up with an idea.
We shall celebrate Niddling Thursday.
When is Niddling Thursday?
It's the second Thursday in September, Hilda.
And what exactly is one expected to do that day?
Niddle.
Evadne, don't be so abstruse, dear.
I must confess, Hilda, I had to look it up myself. It's a Scots word.
It would be.
And it means simply moving quickly.
You mean like a moonlight flit?
Not moving a house, dear. Moving about, rushing. The Oxford Dictionary gives a quote from an old Scots ballad that says, "They whittled a boot, they niddled a boot."
I don't like the sound of the whittling, do you? I mean, the niddling sounds nasty enough.
Now, Niddling Thursday was obviously named because it involved a good deal of rushing about. The ceremony was, in fact, the reenactment of an ancient Stockton legend. The entire town turned out to process through the streets of Stockton behind the solitary figure of a woman.
What age woman?
About our age, I suppose. Why?
Did you, had anyone in mind, to play her?
No.
Well, I don't want to push myself forward, you understand, but what about me?
Oh, right, if you'd like to.
That's settled, then. Now, let me see. I could wear a wimple and velvet, and maybe a fur plastron with jeweled buttons down the front and a silver hip belt. Oh, heaven. I can see it, Evadne.
I don't think you can, dear. This woman is dressed in rags. She has her face blackened, a birch broom in her hand, and a large artificial hump on her back.
Well, I'm not wearing a hump, and that's flat.
The woman in question is supposed to be Crazy Kate.
Oh, I see. Sort of like Mad Margaret in Ruddigore.
Well, sort of.
That's all right, then. One of my favorite roles, as you know. And Mad Margaret isn't really mad anyway, is she? She's not even deranged. She's just very sad.
Well, yes, but Crazy Kate was as mad as a coot.
Oh.
Mind you, she improved dramatically.
Oh, that sounds better.
You see, it was a time of terrible drought. And because poor Kate was crazed and deformed, the mob took it out on her. One day, one Thursday, seeing her in the street, they gave chase, hurling stones at her and abuse, and of course spitting on her.
Are you sure we wouldn't be better off doing May Day, dear?
So let me finish. Kate ran. She raced through the streets of the town. The mob was at her heels. Finally, she jumped into the old well in Culpeper Alley. It was dry. And there at the bottom was a frog. And the frog said,
"This well is very deep and very dry. I've been here many days, and I shall die."
Just say it normally, Evadne.
"Doesn't sound right," said normally.
Well, it sounds hateful, said like a frog.
Are you going to listen to the story or not?
All right, yes, fine.
So Crazy Kate said,
"Don't worry, Mr. Frog, I'll rescue you."
Oh, she was Scottish.
yes.
A sort of Loch Gelly.
Yes.
She said, "Don't worry, I'll take you up with me, dear."
She took the frog and clambered up, and they came to the top. The mob was waiting, but no one appeared to see her. And Crazy Kate then realized that she, too, was a frog.
A frog? I thought you said she improved. Turning into a frog hardly seems a step in the right direction.
Just listen. So there we have two frogs sitting on the edge of the well.
Yeah.
And suddenly the well filled with water. And the first frog said, "Jump in." And Crazy Kate, completely trusting, did so.
She really was crazy, that Kate.
And do you know what happened?
She drowned.
No, she didn't. She turned into the most beautiful, elegant, and gracious lady. And at that very moment the rains came, and the people lifted her onto their shoulders and feted her through the town, strewing flowers before her. And she lived and was celebrated to a ripe old age. And annually afterwards, the legend was reenacted.
And what happened to the frog?
It was a magic frog with magic powers, and when it's needed, it will no doubt return.
Yes. Well, I don't think all that running through the streets being chased by a howling mob is really me there.
Well, no, what I suggest, Hilda, is that we split the thing into two parts.
Yes.
The chase first, and then the triumphal procession. So we'd get someone from the rugger club, say, to play Crazy Kate and to do the athletic stuff, and then you and your wimple and your whatnots would wait in the well.
In the well?
It was completely dry, dear, and not very deep. Then at the right moment, you see, you'd be wound up, ready for the triumphal procession.
You make me sound like a clockwork doll.
Anyway, that's what I suggest we do.
And what about the frog?
Don't worry about the frog. We won't have a real one.
You know, Evadne, I'm rather looking forward to Niddling Thursday, especially as I'm going to be among the lucky few who will not actually be required to nibble.
Right, Hilda. Now, you'd better start thinking about getting into your well.
I've been thinking about nothing else ever since we left home. Do I really have to? I mean, couldn't I just sort of languish on the top somewhere?
No, you could not. If you don't get down the well, you don't do it at all.
Well, let's at least leave it until the last minute.
This is the last minute. We should be on their way by now.
Shouldn't we, be able to hear them?
Well, not until they get closer. Then you'll hear them all right. They should sound like a lynch mob.
If the rugger club's leading them, they are a lynch mob.
Now get into your bucket and I'll lower you down.
Shouldn't I have a hard hat and a canary?
Hilda, if you don't get into that bucket, I shall pick you up and throw you in. There are tourists in Stockton waiting to see you wound up.
Oh, do stop going on about me being wound up. I feel as if I'd got a key sticking out of my back, and that's only one step away from a hump.
I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2...
Evadne, how am I, with even a modicum of decorum, supposed to cock my leg over the parapet?
You are not required to cock anything, Hilda. Just stand on the parapet, step down into that large bucket which we have gone to such lengths to procure for you. It is known to us all as Hilda Bucket, and I want to see Hilda in it. Now, 1...
You are holding on to that handle, aren't you, Evadne?
Yes, I am.
And you're sure you're strong enough? If you start flying round and round, I'm going to drop straight down.
Hilda, don't tempt me. Get into the bucket.
Here goes, then. Tell them, should they ask of me, that I went down with my ship. That's so bad! So bad! Evadne, please, 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 not so bad! Oh.
Right, Hilda, you're down. Now we're ready for the Niddlers. Oh, Major Denforth. Hello, Major. All well?
No. As a matter of fact, we've got a bit of a problem.
Problem?
Stupid young asses, that rugger club. Designated run like the Wind Rowlands to play Crazy Kate. Best runner around, and a practical joker to boot. They get the orphan, he's away, like a rocket. Gone.
So they'll be here quicker than we thought.
No, that is the problem. They'll not be here at all. He's gone the wrong way, you see. Streaked off up Wendlebury Hill, last seen disappearing into the woods, and the whole damn town in hot pursuit. Must be making for Macklesham well.
But that's 12 miles away.
Precisely. I'd not like to be shopping in Macklesham when that lot hit the high street. We'll have to try to head them back. Look, I've got the car. Will you come?
Well, of course.
I'm sorry, but we must be going.
Evadne? Evadne? Pull me up, will you, dear? Evadne! Oh, she's never gone, has she? Evadne, I hate you! You just wait till I get my hands on you! Now, best be careful, Hilda Becky. It might be the magic frog with the magic powers back. I say, and Mr. Frog, ready? Now, you can do me a favor. Well, as a matter of fact, you can do me two. You can get me out of this well, and you can turn Evadne into a maggot and then take her fishing.
The Random Jottings of Hinge and Bracket with Dr. Evadne Hinge and Dame Hilda Bracket. With Daphne Heard as Maud and friends and neighbors at Spectrum Trestle in Getting It Together.
Although Evadne and I do have a good deal in common, there are areas in which we are simply light years apart. And I don't mean the obvious ones like height, age, and dress sense. I mean, take sex appeal. I don't know why. This may be something lacking in me, but I just don't have Evadne's penchant for attracting men in corduroy caps and mittens. Mind, I get flowers on St. Valentine's Day. She gets jars of malt extract. And then, of course, there's the house. You might say that if my half is spring in Park Lane, hers is winter in Wolverhampton. Imagine my surprise, then, when one morning a week or so ago, Evadne suddenly, for the very first time, began showing a disconcerting interest in the furniture in the drawing room. Evadne, why are you measuring the back of that settee there?
I want to know how long it is, Hilda.
But it's the third time you've done it this morning. Is it growing or something?
Well, to be quite frank, dear, I still have some difficulty converting inches to centimetres.
I can't think why, dear. Surely you remember all those little rhymes. The papers were full of them at one time. A litre of water's a pint and 3/4.
Not a lot of help if you're trying to measure something, Hilda.
As a matter of fact, I made one up myself to cover that sort of thing. 2.54 centimetres laid out in a row looks almost the same as an inch, you know. Does that help?
No.
Oh, well, I do try.
This tape measure doesn't help much either. It's too short, for one thing.
Well, put your finger where it ends and move it up.
I know the technique, Hilda. The real trouble is that it goes up to 60 inches on one side and only 59 inches on the other.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Evadne. It's perfectly obvious that both sides are exactly the same length.
You know what I mean? There are 60 inches marked on the inches side, but only 59 inches on the centimetre side.
There shouldn't be any inches at all on the centimetre side. It should be all in centimetres, surely.
It is.
There you are, then.
But it only goes up to 59 inches, in centimetres.
Are you trying to tell me that you've got a faulty tape measure?
No, I expect they're all the same.
Then what are you grizzling about?
I am not grizzling. I am just saying it makes things somewhat difficult.
Tape measures, my dear, have been in use an awful long time, you know. I bet you're the first person who's ever found fault with a design. Anyway, how long do you make it?
I've told you. It's 60 inches on one
Not
side.
the tape measure, Evadne. The settee.
Oh, I make that 73 inches.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, how do you know?
It's a 6-foot settee, dear. It's 72 inches.
It's 73 inches.
Evadne, why has the length of my settee become so important to you, dear? You're not thinking of sleeping on it, are you? I mean, it's far too short for that.
Well, I did want it to be a little surprise, Hilda, but I'm afraid I've rather spoiled it, haven't I?
You've not been buying loose covers, have you? I mean, I don't want a settee that looks like yours. Brown moquette. It's like sitting on a camel. Only your settee's got more humps.
I have not been buying loose covers, Hilda.
Well, thank the Lord for that.
I've bought you a new settee.
Oh, merciful heavens.
As a present.
You haven't.
Well, you're always complaining that I don't take enough interest in the house. So the other day I decided to turn over a new leaf.
And underneath it you found a settee.
Well,
It really is very sweet of you, Evadne. But where on earth are we going to put it, dear?
It'll replace that old thing.
Are you referring to my Hepplewhite?
That is not a Hepplewhite.
Well, it's not a bad shot at one. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen a genuine Hepplewhite quite as nice as that.
Only the other day you said it was looking shabby.
I was contemplating having it reupholstered, dear. I was not contemplating chucking it out. It's just that wear and tear and the passing years have taken their toll. And God knows you should be able to understand that better than anyone. Do you know where I bought that settee?
Of course I do. Littlehampton.
Well, fancy you remembering that.
How could I ever forget? The settee cost £25 and getting it home cost 30.
Such a quaint little antique shop.
Antique shop, my foot. It was a junk shop that had somehow strayed into Sussex and acquired ideas above its station.
It was no such thing. There were some very beautiful pieces there, and that settee was one of them.
Well, keep it then.
Oh, now I've upset you, haven't I? I didn't mean to be offhand about your little present, dear. Well, when I say little, how big is it?
Well, that's what worries me, Hilda. In the shop it looked about the same size as that one, but I fancy it might be a little bit bigger.
Don't worry, Evadne. We'll get it in somehow. You know, I can't wait to see it, really, dear. Your taste is always so wonderfully fundamental. I mean, take your bedroom. It's pure Alcatraz. I say, Evadne, what's that very strange smell coming from the kitchen?
Oh, good heavens, I nearly forgot. That's our lunch, dear.
What on earth is it?
It's something a bit different.
Yes, it smells it.
Just a pottage. Oatmeal, barley, and I chucked in all sorts of things I found in the garden.
Oh, so your old Wellington boots turned up after all. It's a mercy we didn't have a tortoise.
It's been simmering all morning. I must go and have a look at it in a minute.
Oh, I wouldn't do that, dear. It might attack you. I say, Evadne, did I show you this, dear?
What is it?
I found it at the Music Emporium yesterday. Look, it's a score of that show, As You Were.
Yes.
Remember, we did a song from it in that charity review at Scarborough years ago.
Yes, you're right.
And the man in the front row, wearing the monocle, he kept throwing roses at me.
Oh, yes. I cut my foot on one.
Well, how was I to know they were porcelain?
He did keep shouting, catch.
Many's the afternoon we spent together, sheltering from the wind and eating sugar replicas of the Floral Hall. He absolutely adored that song we did, Two Little Bits of Grease. Shall we do it now, dear? Just for old time's sake.
Oh, dear. Give it here. And if anyone starts throwing roses, for heaven's sake, catch them.
Two little ladies in the chorus with no sense to bend. We've got a beatless day before us till we can meet a friend. I'm very hungry. I'm so thirsty. Why did I leave my home? How's a girl to live on the wage they give at the Grecian Hippodrome? Two little bits of green, two little bits of green. Bits of green without a doubt should be promptly taken out. So send to the luncheon tea, down in the Golden Flea. Nice little lunch for two and two, Bill and Coo, come on do. We'll absolutely stick to you like two little bits of green. Should the week for 15 drag my eggs and a bit too thick. Just let them wait until they set me. I'll tell them off them quick. Well, never mind what comes to daddy. Why don't you pawn your pearls? 'Cause they're like your rings, brought to take nothing. Well, of all the spiteful girls.
Really?
Two little bits of grease, two little bits of grease. Bits of grease without a doubt should be promptly taken off the stand of the luncheon tea, down in the Golden Fleet. Nice little lunch for two and two, Bill and Coo, come on do. We'll absolutely stick to you like two little bits of grease. Two little bits of grease, two little bits of grease. Bits of grease without a doubt should be promptly taken out the stand of the luncheon tea, down in the Golden Fleet. Nice little lunch for two and two, Bill and Coo, come on do. We'll absolutely stick to you like two little bits of grease. Woo!
You know, listening to that song again, Hilda, you'd think that man would have given you lunch, wouldn't you, rather than just sugar replicas of the Floral Hall?
Yes, I fancy he was a bit mean, dear. That's probably why he wore a monocle instead of glasses.
Talking of lunch, I must just go and peep at my pottage.
Well, mind how you go, dear. Don't fall in. It's all right, Evadne. I'll go. It's probably just someone to complain about the smell. Good morning.
Morning, madam. DDFW.
Good heavens, it's Jimmy Young.
It's Davenport's Discount Furniture Warehouse, madam. Delivery. If you will just sign there. Number 23. Settee.
Where's the settee?
There, in the box.
But that's just a big flat box. I mean, it may possibly contain the top of a billiard table, but it most certainly does not contain a settee.
What's it say on the end of that box, madam?
Open other end.
And what's it say on this end?
Open other end.
No. Just below that.
Sophia. Whatever it is, it was obviously made in Bulgaria. Sophia's the capital, you know.
Where is the I?
The I what?
I'll tell you what, look.
Yes.
Let us take a look at that word. Very closely together, madam, shall we, eh? Hey, we won't rush it. We will take our time. And we will take it letter by letter. Now then, what do we get? S-O-F-A. Sofa. And how about the delivery sheet then, eh? What does that say at number 23? S-E-T-T-E-E. See?
If it was made in Bulgaria, it's probably an Ottoman.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, I thought that would be above your head. The Ottoman Empire, dear.
I'll never go to the theatre. Look. Are you going to sign number 23, or am I going to take that back?
I suggest you take it back there and see if you can find our tea.
What is going on out here, Hilda? I could hear you in the kitchen.
Look, let's try again, shall we? Eh? A fresh start, a new beginning. Good morning, madam. DDFW.
That's Davenport's Discount Furniture Warehouse, Evadne.
You keep out of it.
Now, just a minute, Hilda. Let me deal with this.
If you would just sign there, madam, at number 23, 1 settee.
Oh, I see.
What do you see, Evadne?
It's a flat pack, dear.
There's not the do or die. There's but the DIY.
Precisely. There's your signature. And good day to you.
Good day to you too, madam. And have fun.
DIY, Evadne.
It's self-assembly, dear.
I know perfectly well what DIY stands for.
Furniture you can make at home.
Yes, and all you need is an ordinary cabinet maker's chisel, a pot of wood glue, and an 8-pound mallet. Well, I'm not having anything to do with it, thank you. All my life I've had my furniture made for me, and I do not intend to lower my standards now. What on earth did you buy that for?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't know I had. I just pointed at a perfectly ordinary-looking settee and said, I'll have that one. I mean, I was in and out in 5 minutes.
Oh, you're always dreadfully dangerous when you shop like that, dear. Remember, that's how you got your bell-bottom trousers in your belly.
Get hold of the other end of that box, Hilda, and help me carry it into the drawing room. We'll have it together in no time at all. You'll see. Hilda, pass me a 19mm self-tapping screw, would you, dear?
What did one of those look like?
Well, it's 19mm long for a start. That should provide a clue.
Can I have the tape measure, please?
You don't need it. 19mm is the largest screw we have. It's obviously that one there.
Well, why don't you just point there and say one of those there?
Oh, give it here. And the screw cups here. One of those there.
These?
Yes.
They are.
Yep. And a screw cap.
I've just given you one, Evadne.
That was a screw cup, Hilda. I now want a screw cap.
You must have had a screw loose to have bought this thing.
Now we just tighten that up. And now we place part A on part B. These dials on A should drop into these holes on B. That's right, lay it on, Hilda. Easy, easy. Now, just gently push your side on.
Well, go on there.
Well, push it a bit harder, then.
It still won't go on.
Then thump it with your fist.
Oh, honestly. Oh! That's done it.
Right. And now I'll push my side on. And there we are.
We're not, you know.
What?
When you pushed your side on, my side came off again. Yours went down and mine came up. So we're right back where we started.
Well, it's simple enough. All you have to do, Hilda, is push your side down again.
Very well. Right, it's down.
Now mine's up.
Shall we leave it a day or two and come back to it when we're fresh?
No, what we have to do, obviously, is push together.
All right, then, right. Now, after 3, then. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and push. Oh, it's on. Say, does it look right to you?
No.
No, I thought not. The caster should be at the bottom, shouldn't it? Oh, that'll be Maud. I bet she's put a settee or two together in her time.
I bet she's reduced a few to matchwood. Don't involve her, I beg you.
Oh, good morning, Dame Hilda. Doctor.
Good morning, Maud.
Good morning, dear.
Ooh, had a bit of an accident, have you? What were it?
It was a mistake, dear. But it's supposed to be a settee. It's a present from the doctor.
And are you taking it to bits or putting it together?
Well, to tell you the truth, dear, we've been doing a bit of both, haven't we, Evadne?
You know, my Arthur won't let me do nothing like that. He won't have me so much as pick up an hammer in the house.
Can't say I blame him.
He says it ain't fit work for a lady, Doctor. And I'm surprised to see Dame Hilda soiling her beautiful hands with a 4-bit-2, 2-bit-4, and all them dirty screws.
I can assure you, Maud, that Dame Hilda has not done very much to soil her beautiful hands. All she's done so far is drop several screws down the side of the armchair, put 4 casters on upside down, and attempted to make something out of all the small offcuts of timber put in the box of packing.
We can't all be little Heppelwhites, Evadne, can we? Now, perhaps, briefly, we could find something a little more interesting than settees to talk about.
Birdseed.
Yes.
You don't happen to have any birdseed lying about, do you, Dame Hilda?
No, I'm afraid we don't, dear. We don't use it anymore since we went over to Mulesley. Well, the birdseed used to get in Evadne's teeth, you see. And I thought I couldn't stand her chirping.
Now, wait a moment. Surely you have to pass the pet shop on the way up here, Maud. You should have popped in there.
Well, I did once, Doctor, for some cuttlefish. But I've never been back since.
Why not, dear?
Well, I don't think he'd let me in again, though it weren't my fault. It were them hamsters. I didn't run up his trouser legs.
I bet he looked on that as a blessing.
Are you saying that a hamster ran up the man's trouser leg and he took it out on you? No, I don't mean that. Not quite what I meant.
You see, when I went in for me cuttlefish, Dame Hilda, he was showing his hamsters to someone.
Let's move on, dear, shall we? Before we get into trouble.
So while I were waiting, I thought I'd just have a wander round his shop.
Oh, I think I'm beginning to see.
Well, there was this tiny little monkey, see? Ever so sweet he were. So I poked me finger through his wire, and he grabbed it with his teeth.
Wouldn't you think she'd know better after Albert and the Lion?
If he'd have been a lion, Doctor, I'd not have put my finger in.
If it'd been a lion, Maud, you ought to have put your head in.
Now, don't be quite so sharp, Evadne. I want to hear the end of this. So what happened then, Maud?
Well, quite unwittingly, I let out a little cry. And that's when the man fell off his ladder.
What was he doing up the ladder with a hamster, dear? Was it a performing one?
No. He was fetching down a cage for the lad as had bought the hamster. The hamster weren't up the ladder, the man were.
Yeah.
Till he fell. Then he dropped the cage, and the lad dropped the hamster, and the hamster ran right up the man's trouser leg. And that's what set the gorilla going. Well, it were a sort of gorilla, great big hairy thing, a chimpanzee, if you like.
Oh, gosh, David Attenborough would love her.
And the man were jumping up and down in one corner, shaking his trousers. The gorilla was jumping up and down in the other, shaking his bars. And I think he thought it was sort of dance, you see. Mind, once he'd smashed his way out of his cage and grabbed hold of the man, it were a dance. The birds was screeching, the dogs was barking, and there was terrapins everywhere. And that's how I got my finger out.
How, dear?
Well, when I thought no one were looking,
Yes.
I poked my other finger in the little monkey's eye. He soon let go all right. But I think that's what really upset the man. So you see, I don't really like to go back there just for a packet of birdseed.
Yes, I think you're probably right, dear. I'd wait till it's blown over.
I'd wait until the shop's changed hands.
Well, I'd best be getting on with me chores, and when I've done, I'll give you a hand and sling that thing together for you, if you like. Oh, I don't care what they tells you, Dame Hilda. There's only one thing as wanted for a job like that. Brute force.
You know, she could be right, Evadne.
I don't think so, Hilda. We've already tried that.
Now, who on earth can that be? I'll go. It's all right, Maud, dear. I'll get it.
Morning, madam.
Good Lord, it's not you again.
DDFW. Davenport Discount Furniture Warehouse Snap.
We appear to have become inseparable. I say, you've not come to take it back by any chance, have you? Please.
On the contrary, I have brought you another box.
Another one?
If you'll just sign there, at number 59.
Evadne! It's typical of her, you know. She even bought 2 berries with her bell-bottom trousers.
What is it now, Hilda? Oh, it's you again.
He's brought another one.
Well, he can jolly well take it away again. It's obviously a mistake.
Well, of course, if you don't want the cushions.
Cushions?
Most settees have them these days, but they come in a separate box, and that's what you got there. Didn't you think it was a bit hard to sit on?
Oh, good gracious me. We haven't got that far.
You're taking your time, aren't you?
Well, if you're so darn clever, you come in and do it.
Well, if you're so darned helpless, perhaps I'll better.
Are you serious?
Well, I'll have a look at it for you if you like, dear. Where is it?
Come in, I'll show you. Follow me. It's in here. There.
Oh, God bless my soul. What have you been doing? You're halfway to building a model of a mosque. There. What'd you put that bit on there for?
Well, we thought that's where it went.
Have either of you ever seen a settee?
Well, not in pieces, no.
I mean, a child could do it. I mean, a monkey could do it.
Well, I happen to know where there's one with one eye. He could come... Maybe you'd just like me to fetch the cats in and let them have a crack at it.
Hilda, let him get on with it, dear. I'm sure he knows how to do it much better than we do.
You got any particular reason for wanting your arms upside down, have you?
None.
Oh, how about the casters? Or was you planning to wheel it up and down the stairs?
Hilda, bite your tongue, dear, and count your blessings.
Of course, what we really need here, you know, is a drop of decent wood glue.
I knew that would come up. And an ordinary cabinet maker's chisel and an 8-pound mallet.
You what?
They always say you don't need them, but you always do in the end.
Well, you wouldn't if you hadn't made such a dog's dinner of it. Look, you see, you birds your screws, And you've splayed your dowels.
Haven't done my back much good, eh?
Excuse me, Dame Hilda, but what's this horrible, smelly, sticky stuff I found on the stove?
Oh, good heavens, it's not been boiling, has it, Maud?
I've no idea what it's been doing, Doctor. But whatever it is, it's not done it much good by the looks of it.
Oh, what a shame, Evadne. Your pottage has gone to pot.
It's absolutely ruined. I shall have to throw it away.
Here, just a minute. Not so fast. Let's have a deco. Give it here.
You're not going to eat it, surely.
No. But I fancy a dab of that might do to hold your settee together, darling. There, that's perfect.
Success, Evadne. Oh, at last we found a use for one of your herbal recipes.